Hey, so Mark meets Seb Royce, Executive Creative Director at Glue Isobar. Hi Seb.
Hello, how you doing?
Yeah, good, you okay?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Very well.
Can you give us a very quick summary of your career?
Yes, I did psychology at Newcastle University way back in, I started there in 92, finished in 95. Then I stumbled into advertising, literally. I didn't know what I wanted to do, went to the careers office, A for advertising, and I'd always been relatively interested in advertising, but didn't really know much about it. Went down to lots of interviews in London, got on the graduate training course there, was in account management, and realised quite quickly that I was in the wrong part of it, and I wanted to be playing pool with the guys in the crowd.
What agency was this, sorry?
This is Ogilvy.
Ogilvy, okay.
They were doing amazing work at the time as well. They had Guinness, they had Samaritans, and they had loads of great accounts. So I kind of jacked it in, and I did a book with a friend of mine at St Martin's at Art College, and then I kind of resold that back into the creative director then, and we worked on a pitch for the Observer, and helped to bring it into the agency, and then we got hired, and worked there for another 4 or 5 years. Across loads of different things. And
who was your creative director there at the time?
Initially Patrick Hollister, and then Steve Dunn. And then in 2000, my art director, the guy I was working with, left to go and work at Dyson, designing vacuum cleaners and things. And I had friends working at Deep End, and Deep End were a very good design company at the time. And I was getting really interested in the internet and that sort of things anyway, so it seemed like a good time to try something new. I met Mark Ridge, who was the CEO of Glue, and he was talking about setting up a digital advertising agency, because Deep End were being asked to do a lot of driving people to their websites, i.e. the comms around the websites, and no one was really doing that at the time. It was kind of designers doing it. So we sat down and said, oh, let's create an agency, and that was it. We started off and then failed miserably when the dot-com crash happened. All ended up on dial-up connections at home doing, finance department stuff, which is all pretty full on. And then slowly built it up over the years, and where we are now today.
So how long have you now been at Glue for?
A long time. I was sitting in a meeting the other day with a planner we've just hired. He said, I was 11 when you first started.
That's really scary, isn't it?
It's really scary. So 12 years.
Fine. You look about 12 years old though, so it's fine. You don't look as old as you've been working here for. How would you design a spice rack for a blind person?
How would I design a spice rack for a blind person? Leave the spices open so they could just smell it, I guess. How would I do it? I don't know. I'd have it all at head height, so they wouldn't have to move very far. I would have it all with very soft edges, so they wouldn't sort of take their eye out and anything. And I would have the spices evenly spaced, so that the smell of one spice didn't affect the smell of another spice.
Okay, not bad on thinking on your feet. If you could work for any agency in the world, apart from Glue Isobar, who would it be?
God, that's a really, really difficult one at the moment. At the moment, there's lots of agencies around kind of advertising that I think are interesting, almost probably more than the actual kind of agencies themselves. I've always liked, in terms of advertising, I've always liked people like Droga 5. They're good, do interesting work. I think, I like agencies like Adeo and, Made by Many, I think are all interesting. All of those places are doing interesting things. I don't really have a kind of a massive desire to there's not one place I think, I need to definitely work there, but there's lots of people doing lots of interesting things in the margins, and that's where I think things are going. I'm interested in that.
Which superpower would you like to have, and why?
Which superpower? God. I would like to have invisibility.
So you can see what other agencies are working on.
Well, it's not in an advertising context. I'd like to just be able to get some work done without 100 people on the desk.
Fair enough. If you could turn back time in your career, what would you have done differently?
Wow. If I could turn back time, what would I have done differently? think that I would have. There's not a great deal I would have done differently. I think I didn't know how to play the politics of big agency life before. I got a bit swamped by it, I think. So maybe I'd try things a bit differently there. But I think I made the right decision at the right time to look into the kind of digital field. So I don't really have many regrets about it, I don't think.
And for you, what's the best thing about agency life?
All the things that people normally say about it really apply, I think. The variety, the fact that you're doing a different job every day. I mean, to be honest, if you can't be interested and excited about what's happening now, generally in the industry, then you know, you're really in the wrong place. There's so much change going on. But for me, I've always been in a culture, ever since we started Glue, always been in a culture where we just embrace change, and change is a brilliant thing. It's nothing to be scared of. In fact, we actively take it on. We're going through a whole restructure at the moment, which is all about actually doing something, about putting innovation and tech right at the heart of everything, not just talking about it. I know loads of people talk about it, but genuinely doing it, because we started off being very experimental, and I think in order to get one step ahead again, we need to do something very experimental again. So I like the fact that I'm working in a culture like that. I really enjoy the people I work with as well, and the variety of the job. I think it's great.
And how would you say the relationship with Isobar has changed the initial culture or view that Glue had?
I think, do you know what, it can be a very, I think parent companies can get a very bad time, and sometimes that's completely warranted, because then lots of the time the parent companies are not sure how to manage creative agencies or creative people. But actually, you know, to be fair to Aegis, they left us to it for a little bit, set us some quite punchy targets, but left us to it for a bit, and actually now they have backed us to go through the change that we need to get to go to the next level. So did it change the culture initially? Yeah, it did, actually, because we had to merge a few companies in. We had to move office. It wasn't our kind of thing, our choice at the time. So inevitably things changed from 5 or 6 of us sitting around a table, you know, just kicking ideas around, but we had to grow up a little bit. But I think the thing that's never changed, and you know, being owned or not owned, it's still the kind of, we wanted to create a place that was full of nice people as well as talented people. So really, it's a nice place to work here. People rarely leave because they don't like the people here, which is a really important thing, I think, if you're going to work here for so long. And also, there's still very much a positive can-do attitude about stuff here, experimental attitude. Let's try this out. Let's try this. Let's try this. So it changed, but I don't think in a particularly negative way. How
hands-on are you these days as a creative?
Very, actually. Maybe due to the lack of a few extra hands on deck. But actually, I know that there are kind of ECDs who are very hands-off. I'm not one of those people. I don't kind of do a lot of the speaking circuit unless I've got something I really want to speak about. I'm very keen to stay close to the work. I think it's really important to do that, and to be interested in all the stuff that's going on around you as well. It's very easy to get locked up in a little bubble, I think. So I'm pretty close to work, as close as doing some of it as well as creative directing it.
Being someone that's been, I guess, neutral in the industry for kind of 6-7 years or so, I've seen a lot of the changes with you guys as well, and with loads of other agencies. The perception when I first entered the industry was that Glue were one of the key players in the industry, cleaning up at every award ceremony that we were attending. And it's very much gone quiet for the past few years. So how are you guys looking to get back to, I guess, the reputation you had years ago, if at all?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think that's pretty fair, actually. I mean, it's only been the last couple of years, but I think the last couple of years it has gone quite, because we've gone through all the changes that we've gone through, inevitable changes. I think one of the main things is that we had, when we started, and this is a major kind of theme for me at the moment, we had the right clients for us as well. I think you can have the most open-minded, collaborative, tech-savvy agency in the world, but if you don't have the right clients who want to buy the work and buy what you're about, then you may as well go home. And I think we made some mistakes, and we got in a few clients who didn't really want or couldn't buy the stuff that we wanted to give them, whereas at the start we had your Virgins and your Minis and your pot noodles and great clients at the COI and doing awesome work. And they allowed us to just be as good as we could be. They challenged us to
try new things and break barriers.
Absolutely, yeah. That's what it was all about. And actually, the ideas never went away from here. It's just getting those ideas through has been really difficult. Now, winning Google this year, you know, getting into the Guardian this year, doing really interesting things across a load of new clients. Suddenly, the client list is looking a hell of a lot better. We're doing some really interesting stuff with Axon Nobel as well. And I think you'll see loads of good work coming out of here in the next 6, 9, 12 months, but it's taken a little while. These things are cyclical, I think. You know.
No, I think that's fair and honest. Who inspires you?
Well, in an advertising context, or
in the industry or outside the industry?
Do you know what? It's difficult to kind of pinpoint people and say, like, that person is the person that inspires me. I think it's where you get your inspiration from that I think is interesting. I've got a long commute now. I'm going to move slightly out to Amersham, not quite countryside, but you know, Zone 9. You know, I didn't realise there was a Zone 9.
Oh, I didn't know there was a Zone 9 either.
So I download TED Talks on the way into work on the iPad and just watch them, and they're really interesting. You know, some of them are rubbish and some of them are too much for me, and some of them are really inspirational. I'm interested in the kind of tech for social good theme that seems that has come through in South by Southwest over the last couple of years as well. I thought listening to Al Gore and Sean Parker at South by Southwest a few weeks ago was massively inspirational as well.
I'm very jealous.
But I get inspired by a good goal at QPR as much as I do, you know, watching TED Talks as well. So I'm quite happy with. I'm just, you know, whichever day it is, it's, you know, it's a different person.
What do you do? What are your interests outside of work?
I used to do a lot of DJing. I still collect vinyl, which I love a lot. And cycling as well. Now, having moved out to Zone 9, I can do a bit more cycling, which is always good. Music is the thing that is pretty much the thing that I've always loved as well. And now having 2 kids in my hands, there is a lot of looking after those as well.
And QPR?
And QPR, of course, yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Sorry about that.
What does someone have to do to creatively impress you and stand out?
Do you know what? I just want to be surprised. I want to be surprised by people. I don't want to look at ideas and kind of go, yeah, that's kind of okay. I want to, you know, I say this to everyone, whether they're in the creative, whether they're kind of conceptual creatives. Our creative department's quite broad now here, or anyone who works at Glue. I just want them to come up with surprising solutions to whatever they're doing, whether it's a thought about how to strategically work something out, or whether it's an idea for the office or the environment or anything. I just want to be surprised by people. That's all. So when people come to me with stuff that is kind of run in the mill, it doesn't affect me, it doesn't move me in any way, then I'm not interested in that. I'm not interested in really surprising and interesting solutions to things. I
guess, obviously, when Glue when it first launched, it was a kind of digital advertising, online advertising agency. Yeah. How does the agency sell itself now?
This is all part of our restructuring, actually. We're going to be very much, the semantics are kind of key, aren't they? I mean, if you say you're a modern communications agency, kind of with innovation at your heart, it sounds, we haven't quite worked out there to align it. But essentially what it is about putting tech and innovation. What I mean is utilities, apps, platforms are back at the heart of everything we do. And innovative ways of looking at those, and then putting comms around that.
So the idea starts with the platform, and then
potentially, eventually, that's where we want to get to. Because at the moment, I think what happened with us is that we were experimenting, we were flying under the radar, doing this cool digital stuff, and actually, then we took on more and more kind of comms, which was right to do and helped grow the business. But we didn't want to become just another agency. That would have been wrong. So that's why we're doing this whole reset, which will set us up in a completely different way. I think what's great about here now is we've got such a hybrid of lots of different people who are massively tech heavy, people who are massively comms heavy as well. The whole point in the Glue name in the beginning was taking people who really understood advertising at the time and communications and gluing them or sticking them with people who understood the tech. And actually, although people all kind of say they're hybrid now, we've got a genuine hybrid kind of team of people here.
So when you say hybrid, do you mean media neutral? Do you mean integrated thinking? thinking?
I mean, media neutral. You know, I kind of think, but people who understand about the tech as well as about comms, I think is really important that as well at all levels.
Who's the most creative person you've ever worked with?
Oh my god. Most creative person I've ever worked with. I think that's very difficult. I'm not sure if I can answer it actually.
Have there been multiple people over the years that?
Yeah, I think there have. You know, and I had a guy called John Kelly who was a real mentor to me. Very old school, could be considered very old school kind of creative guy now, who is totally superb and had an amazing mind and was very good at imparting his kind of knowledge and wisdom to me. Really helped me. But I mean, you know, it's virtually impossible to answer. I think there's been lots of really interesting third parties and people we've worked with over the years that have been great.
And what advice would you give people that are looking to get into the industry today?
To try and be a bit different. I think you've got some quite interesting things going now. Like School of Communication Arts is doing some interesting things. I think the courses, the advertising courses, I think going on those is good in one sense, but you have to be very careful. I think you don't come out being like other people. Do
you feel those advertising courses advocate digital advertising as much as they should do?
No, they're starting to, you know, but they're starting to. But actually, students are a lot further ahead often than the teachers are, just by dint of the fact that they're young.
Yeah.
And I think that's a massive change within the industry as well. Is that, you know, I can learn as much of 19-year-old grad that we bring in as I can of someone who's been here for an infinite amount of time. And I think that is, you've got to be open to that stuff, and you've got to embrace that. So I think that's really interesting. But my advice would be to try and stand out and be different, and try and think not just in comms, really. Look at a brand, work out what would be an interesting platform for them, what would be new product development for them, and then do the advertising or comms around it as well. Don't just go in with ad campaigns anymore. It's 2012.
What's your favourite account you've worked on?
Oh God, lots. You know, I loved working with Unilever on Pot Noodle. I loved working with Mini as well. We did some awesome work for Mini, and we had an awesome COI client who when we had the Navy and Marines, and did great stuff as well. I'm really enjoying working with Google. They're just a real breath of fresh air, the way they do things. They're so open to stuff. They've got a real positive attitude, so I'm loving that as well. Okay,
and what's your favourite advertising campaign of all time?
Possible. I couldn't tell you my there's a whole list of stuff. Follow me on Twitter and you'll see it. There's a new one every week.
Fine, let's move on to a quick fire round. FWA or NMA?
NMA.
Can line or Dean AD pencil?
Pencil.
Art directors or copywriters?
Copywriters.
Apple or Android?
Android.
Degree or no degree?
Doesn't matter.
Ant or deck?
Ant.
Fruit or veg?
Fruit.
Retained work or pitch work?
Retained work.
Web or mobile?
Mobile.
Independent agencies or networked agencies?
Not answering that.
Outsourced production or on-site production?
Bit of both.
Don Draper or Roger Sterling?
Roger Sterling.
Interesting. Okay. And lastly, twist or stick?
Twist.
Thank you very much.